Hello everyone, my name is Brittany and I teach technology for the Mid-Continent Public Library. For this video we are going to offer 10 tech tips about File Explorer. So I'll show you a few features you may or may not know about. Hopefully you learn some new things, and then hopefully I can learn from you from anything that you put in the comments. So as I go through my presentation, please feel free throw in any questions that you may have, throw in any comments or anything that you would like to share with others about what you know about File Explorer. So let's get started. So we are going to have 10 tips that we'll cover. A lot of them are located kind of in the same spot within File Explorer. So we're really going to be looking at what they do and see how they actually change File Explorer. So hopefully you've used some of these. If not, you're going to learn something new. So number 1. So this first one is to use that address bar. When you open File Explorer, and if you haven't used it before, it'll look like a little icon or a little folder icon in your taskbar. Once you click to open that up, and open on the other screen, so I'm going to drag it on over. You may not notice too much about this toolbar here that runs across the top of File Explorer. So this is called the address bar. I like to call it the breadcrumbs bar because as you navigate through your folders, it'll display the path that you've taken to get to where you are. So you can also use these navigation buttons here to go backward or forward or up a folder, but you can also click any of the, what I like to call breadcrumbs, in the address bar to go back or forward. So say I'm navigating to my documents, and then I go to my completed recipes folder. You'll notice that each step I take adds another piece to the address bar. So if I wanted to go back to documents, I could click documents to get back to where I was going. Or if I wanted to use the arrow key to go back one more, I can also do that too. Now if I want to go forward, you can use any of those navigations to go pretty much wherever you need to go. But my favorite is really just to use the address bar because it's a lot easier to see what I'm going to do. So I'm in my downloads. Let's go into music. So I have some pictures here. And so if I made another folder within here and then went into that new folder, it's showing me each step I took in order to get to where I'm going or where I am. So I can click music to go all the way back and go from there. So that's using that address bar. All right, number 2. So I'm a huge fan of keyboard shortcuts. So this one is about using the Windows key plus the letter E, like for elephant, to open File Explorer. Now your Windows key looks exactly like your start icon that's located in the bottom left corner of your window, but on your keyboard. So in combination with that key and your E key, it will open File Explorer. So I went ahead and used that keyboard shortcut and it opened right on up to quick access. That one's pretty easy. Number 3. Now this one is handy for people that need the entire path detailed out for how they got to a current folder. So for instance, people in my department, we all share one network folder, but to know where we need to go quickly, if someone needs access to a certain file, to kind of eliminate their need to have to sift through all of our hundreds of files, you can send them what's called the path. And there's 4 ways that you can find out this information. You can press the Alt key and the D key, D for dog. You can do Control L. This is all while you're within File Explorer. You can click or tap on the icon in the address bar just to the left of the breadcrumb that we just talked about. or you can click or tap on any empty area in the address bar to the right of the breadcrumb. So here's how that looks. I'm going to open File Explorer, and let's navigate somewhere. Let's go to Pictures, and then let's go into this one. So if I needed to help someone get to this location without having them sift through all my folders to find, say, this picture specifically, for instance, I could give them what's called the path. So I can click on this icon here, which is the little folder, and it will show me the entire navigation path for how I got to this specific folder that has the picture we're all looking for. So then I could copy this and paste it into an email to that person if I wanted to do that too. The second way it said was to the right of the breadcrumb. It shows you the same thing, just a single click. And then also using those keyboard shortcuts, Alt-D will display that. Then you could do Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste it. And then Control-L, oops, will also display that information too. But that's just kind of a quick way to get to displaying the full path for your folder. Number 4, explore the folder options. So there are some things that you can actually change about File Explorer. So we're going to look at a few. We're going to open it back up again. I'll open and close it a lot because I'm just one of those people, I guess. Up in the options, which is located in the View tab, Options is the last option on the right hand side. This will let you change settings for opening items, file and folder views, and change how your search works within it. So if you click the drop down, you only have one option, so change folder and search options. It will open up this dialog window here. We're going to visit this dialog window pretty often because there's a lot of cool things in here that can help you change and customize File Explorer to look the way you need it to look. So what we want to do is, since we want to change certain features in here, all we would have to do is click the toggle or unclick depending on what we want to do. So if we go to the View tab, there are these advanced settings here where you can manipulate anything and everything about what File Explorer does. So if you wanted to display the full path in the title bar instead of you having to do those alternatives we just looked at, you could have it display the full path. There's really no point in really doing it all the time. So you probably don't want to have that on. If you want to have it restore a previous folder when you log on, what it'll do is open File Explorer up to the last place that you were, last folder you were in before you closed it. I haven't gotten that feature to work, but if you can get it to work, yay, it's there. If you want to scroll down a little more and check out a few other things, there's also this use checkboxes to select items. This is handy if you like to leave your view for a lot of your files and folders in the detail view or the list view instead of the thumbnail view like I do. This will give you little check boxes you can click, so that way you can select the items you need a lot easier. There's also things that you can also do with the navigation pane. So all of these things in here are awesome features that you kind of want to check and see and play around with at your discretion. Once you choose what you want, you'll click apply and then hit OK to close that window. So one of the things we're going to do is, number 5, open File Explorer to this PC instead of quick access. So you'll notice that each time I open File Explorer, it opens up to the quick access view, which you'll notice over in my navigation pane. But if I wanted it to open to this PC instead to show where I'm going to end up going anyway, here's how you do that. You'll want to make sure you're in the View tab. You can be in any folder for this. We're going to visit Options again, change folder and search options. And you'll see right up here at the top it says in the General tab, Open File Explorer 2 and then Quick Access. I'm going to change it to this PC. I'm going to click Apply, click OK. Now let's close it and see if it worked. And there you have it. So now that you're not having to start at Quick Access, see all this gobbledygook, when you're really just going to go to something else over here anyway, it now saves you a small step. Most of the time you might be clicking these other locations, but it's still nice to be here instead. This is good if you share a computer with people and you don't necessarily want it to open up directly and show what folders or what files you've been in before, just to kind of give you a small bit of privacy. That's one option to having File Explorer open to this PC instead. And then number 6, all right, search tools. So I've resized my search bar, and so I'm ready to start my search. So you can click here, and you'll notice I have other results here from things I've searched for previously. So I'm going to try and go ahead and do one right now. I'm searching for a file that might have, let's see, computer again. Now as you type, you will get a list of results depending on what you typed in here and what matches. But if you want to get to the search tools to refine your search to be a little bit more specific, once you click Enter or press the Enter key on your keyboard, you should get a Search Tools tab that appears in the ribbon. Now I will say that there apparently is some issue with File Explorer's search, so I've had a little trouble with it actually starting a search. The way around that I found is if I type in here and then press my Enter key twice, it'll actually pull up the search tools. But it is a known problem that the File Explorer search is being kind of iffy. So if you do have some issues with it, just keep at it. Hopefully it works. But you'll notice here I have options to search again in a different location. I can change the date that was modified, what size or kind of file it is, if I've added in those different tags here, or if there are any other properties. And then there's advanced options. So depending on what you need to do and how specific you need to get, you do have these options. Now if you wanted to delete your recent search history here, it's pretty simple. There's a option for recent searches. It'll show you everything you've searched for before. You can clear it, and then that option is grayed out once it's completed that. So once you modify how you need to, so if I say, let's say this month, it'll add those different tags into the search query, so that way you can complete that search. And then it'll update it from there. It should find something depending on what you're putting in here, but you'll have to play around with the tools a little bit in case you need to get a little bit less specific or more specific from there. When you're finished, you can just click Close Search, and it's done. Number 7. Alright, change folder properties. So this can include several things, but we're going to cover just a couple. File Explorer actually has 5 different templates that you can kind of customize the view of your folders once you open them. And view meaning it'll show you a specific toolbar tab when you open that particular folder. So for instance, we need to go to our options in File Explorer. So we're going to go to View, Options, so I am here in my documents, and I have, let's start with this empty downloads folder. If I wanted to change the properties for this specific folder, I'll click on it to select it, or you can just do a straight right click. And in this context menu at the very bottom is the properties option. Now you may have come into this particular folder by accident and been like, oops, but you might not have noticed this Customize tab here. Now there are a few things in here that are pretty cool. The first one is, what kind of folder do you want? And I didn't know there were different types of folders. So what this will do is, like I mentioned before, is give you a specific toolbar tab when you open that particular folder. So when you open documents, it'll most likely give you a toolbar to help you edit like a Word document. If you have it as a pictures folder, it'll open up the pictures toolbar to help you use those specific options. So let's look at what that folder looks like first. I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to move a few documents into it just so we have some things to play around with. So when I open this folder and come here, you notice I'll have these 4 tabs, which are pretty common for most folders. So I have View, Share, Home, and then of course File here. So I'm going to go back one more. Oops, I wanted to click here. So that's what's in that folder. So if we right click, go to Properties, Customize, you see it's optimized for documents right now, but let's change it to pictures. Click Apply, and click OK. Now I notice when I come in here now, I have File, Home, Share, View, and then Picture Tools now. So when I click on that, it'll let me have these rotate and view options. So depending on which type of folder you optimize your specific folder for, that'll determine what type of toolbar options you have at the top. So if I go to Customize and let's change it to Music, click Apply, and click OK, you'll notice now I have music tools here for this specific folder. So if I go in here, I don't have any music files in here, but my categories have also changed as well. So I have title, contributing artist, I believe, yep, and then album name. And then I have music tools here for play all, and playlist. So this is a way to kind of make it a lot easier to customize your documents and organize them based on what type of file you choose. Now, if you don't necessarily care, you don't ever have to go in there and change that. But you can go in and change it to general items if you just want it to be just generally a mashup of different things, and so you don't really need to optimize it. So you don't need that extra toolbar tab. So that's an option as well. Alright, so now that we've talked about changing some folder properties, let's check out how to delete your file browsing history. Now this would be a good idea for those that use a shared computer, and you necessarily don't want someone seeing all of the recent files that you've been in. Now you could collapse it, but obviously the person can uncollapse it. It just makes it to where you've got some sort of security setup. Now to access this, I am in the quick access location right now, where it's showing the frequent folders I've been in and also my file browsing history. In the upper left hand corner there's a file tab, and an option to change your folder and search options. This looks like the one we kind of have been in before. Told you we visited a lot. In the privacy section, there's show recently used files and quick access. You can uncheck that if you'd like to do that. You could check to where it just shows frequently used folders. So let's take a look at how that looks. So apply and then click OK. So you could completely turn that section off. But if you kind of like it for when you're working on the computer, you do have an option of just kind of clearing it like after you're finished working. So let's go back to that file and then let's put it back the way we had it. And then we have a clear option here. So what clear will do, apply and click OK, is make it to where it looks like you haven't opened any files. Alright, now that we've talked about deleting that file browsing history, let's move on to tip 9. So let's unlock some extra items in the navigation pane. So your navigation pane in File Explorer is the listing of the locations on the left-hand side of File Explorer. And so you'll see it'll start with your quick access, your desktop will be here, this PC, and then a few other locations. So what you can do is you can actually add more locations to this particular menu. Now, you might not need all of the extra ones it shows you, but it's still good to know that you can add them for certain situations for when you need them. So in order to play around with this, you want to go back up to File, change Folder and Search Options. Let me put this in the middle here. And this time, instead of going or staying just in this General tab here, we're going to go on over to View and look at these advanced settings again. Now we played in here a little bit in a previous tip, so some of this will definitely look familiar, but we're going to scroll down here to the section for navigation pane. And you'll see I kind of gave myself away because I have them checked already. So what you can do is you have these 4 options here for ways you can change your options in File Explorer. Now there is an option to show libraries and to show all folders. Now if you want to do that, this makes it a little bit easier to kind of navigate because it'll show everything right off the bat. I'll click Apply and click OK. And if I scroll down a little bit, you'll see that I have libraries here, control panels also here, recycle bin, a hidden folder, and then a folder called native. I'm not sure what it is, but libraries used to be a location that was really common in, what was that, maybe Windows 7, maybe XP, or any of those pre-Windows 8 ones, where what libraries would do is pull, there'll be an aggregation of folders in one collection. So for instance, in my videos one, this would be any video folder it could find in my documents, and it's putting it all in one place. So you'll see I have some videos here, ones I'm currently recording now, and it'll put them all together. If I go to my pictures, it'll pull picture folders from other locations to put them here. So for instance, my blog pics folder is located in my pictures folder, just like my navigating photos example folder and my other ones. And then my video projects folder is also in here as well. But those particular folders could be in different locations throughout my documents, music, pictures, or videos, and it's putting them together. So that used to kind of be how things were organized back in the day, but not necessarily now. But if you kind of got used to that particular format, you can get back to it if you liked it a lot better than using these other locations under this PC. Now another one that I really like that shows up here is the recycle bin. Because this, if you are going through doing your regular cleanup of files, it could be pretty easy to just go ahead and let's go to balance and move everything over that you want to delete right into the recycle bin. So that's one cool thing about it as well. And then the control panel is back. It just takes you to the shortcut of where the control panel is, since it's hidden now in Windows 10. So I thought those were some nice little extra locations that were thrown in when you check on show libraries and show folders. So that's that in the navigation pane. And to turn that off, I probably should show you that. You'll just return back to the file tab, change folder and search options, view tab, scroll all the way down, and uncheck those if you don't want them. Click apply, and now they're gone. Okay. And last but not least, number 10. How to rename multiple files quickly. This one, I was so excited about the different ways that you can do this. So, I have a folder, which might be the situation for most of you, where I have a lot of pictures that need to be renamed. But I don't want to have to do them necessarily one by one. So here's kind of a trick that I learned. You'll select the first picture that you want to rename. So say I want to name this one Venice, if I can spell, Venice 1, for instance. Instead of pressing my enter key, I can press tab, and it'll move on to the next picture and rearrange as I go along. So if this is Venice 2, I can move on to the next one to make this one Venice 3, for instance. So that's one way. So that's just tabbing from picture to picture to name it that way. Now you don't have to name your folder, your pictures Venice 1 or Venice 2. It could be any type of naming system that you want to have. It's just that tab key will let you move over to the next item, so that way you can name it from there. So that's the first one. Now, since these are all Venice, I could select the first one, hold down my shift key, and then choose the rename option and name it Venice, and then press enter. It'll give all of those items I selected the same name, but it'll number it for me that way. So instead of me doing it manually by hand and tabbing over like we did with these first two, I can select the first one, select the last one I want to name. I could do rename up in the ribbon if I want to do it that way, and choose Venice from 2014 to rename it if I want to do that, and it'll rename all the other ones. Now it looks like when I chose that last picture, it will start at the last one to rename it if you choose it from the ribbon. So kind of keep that in mind if you want to name them in order. Right click on that first one after you select them all, and then go to rename if you want to start with that specific picture. Hopefully that made sense, or select it in reverse, either one. But that's how to name your files quickly. So kind of a review: click on the first picture you want, rename it. We'll just do that. Tab over, it'll move on to the next item. Tab over. You could do it that way, or select a row, or out of order even, if you want to do it that way. Rename that first picture. They will all share that name. And then they will be numbered sequentially that way. And that's how you do it. Now here's a review of what all we talked about today. We talked about using that address bar, so using your breadcrumbs to move back and forward in folders, using that Windows key plus E to open File Explorer. We talked about taking the full path, which is getting the pathway to a specific folder. Then we looked at the folder options in the View tab. Then we changed this PC. File Explorer will open to this PC instead of quick access. Then we looked at the search tools so we could see that the advanced search options were still there. Then we changed some folder properties to better fit the types of files that are included in a folder. Then we deleted some file browsing history to clean up our tracks. We unlocked extra items in the navigation pane to include libraries, control panel, and the recycle bin. And then we renamed multiple files quickly. And that's what we've got. Always make sure you join us. Anytime you see that we have a video coming up, definitely tune in. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.